I am sure of this, that he who started a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Philippians 1:6. Discouragement is a typical experience for most believers, especially the ones with any kind of self-awareness. We read the scriptures, see the sun, and don't see ourselves. When Paul says things like, "Follow me as I follow Christ," we chuckle with insecurity. Every morning there are new mercies and the same us, or so we think. Our weaknesses and slow growth are ever before us as a reminder of how far we have to go in looking like Jesus. God knows this about us, that we need Him to become like Him, so, in response to our need, He prunes the branches, a trial here, some suffering there, so that we can be refined by the fire and made holy because of it. What we often neglect to contemplate is how our response to trials is now and how different our responses are or aren't from our responses then. Charles Spurgeon said, "The Lord knows how to educate you up to such a point that you can endure in years to come what you could not endure today, just as today He may make you to stand firm under a burden which 10 years ago would have crushed you into the dust." When the Lord commanded Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, it was a test which we know. It wasn't Abraham's first test, however. Do you remember what God commanded Abraham to do when He called him in Genesis 12? He told him to leave his country, his family, and his home, and go where God wanted him to go. Therefore, Abraham was well acquainted with God telling him to sacrifice something he loves. No wonder the text has not mention of Abraham resisting God's will like a Jonah. In God's providential care of Abraham, He'd readied his faith so that as each test increased in intensity, Abraham's stamina did too. Each opportunity to endure benefited his endurance, and we know that endurance produces character. Romans 5:4. So in the middle of the next trial, pay attention to your response. How's your faith in it? Your joy during it? Your resolve because of it? I'm sure it won't be as perfect as the Christ's, but is it better than what it used to be? Is it moving you toward Christ than you were the last go-around? If so, be encouraged. God is completing a work in you. Morning by morning and day by day, the mercies aren't the only new thing you're waking up to. It's also you.